truth.
What's up, everybody? I hope you're having a good day. I want to talk about a couple things before I get into the main subject, if you will. Got a couple video clips from movie clips I want to show y'all. Stick around. The other day, anyway, I'll go ahead and get this. This morning, I was watching news and everything, and I found out something, guys, that might be kind of alarming. A couple of things, actually. One of them was about these suicide pods they've been talking about. And it's an assisted suicide pod where you're placed into a pod, like we've seen these eggs or whatever and everything, and it will help you go into your demise. You know, you will pass away within these chambers. And it is trauma-free, not harmful and everything like that. And so I dug a little bit and found out about it, a little bit about it, guys. And what happens in these things, it is an AI assisted, and it helps you decide if you should suicide. It takes in your biometrics, your moods, and everything like that, and then it helps you decide whether or not you should go ahead and suicide. So this is fully AI assisted suicide from decision making on. Once you get inside this chamber, it is closed and locked, or maybe not locked, and maybe there is a fail-safe to get out just in case. I don't know right, exactly about that, but anyway, you're closed in and you go ahead and start the process. Well, the process is they start eliminating oxygen and filling the chamber with nitrogen. You are suffocated to death. I don't know if y'all know anything about suffocation, but your imagination can run wild with you, but I did look it up, and it is horrible, guys. Your body starts thrashing about. You start gagging and choking, and spittle comes out of your mouth. Your eyes start rolling around your head. Your eyelids flutter. You start thrashing around like you're having an awful seizure. Every ounce of energy you have in your body, every bit of your muscle is fighting, trying to grasp and gasp for that last breath of air that is being slowly replaced with nitrogen. It is not an easy passing, guys. It's one of the most horrific passings you can think of. They even talked about the replacing electric chair here in the United States, or the gas chamber, with these nitrogen chambers. Guys, your eyes bulge out of your head. I mean, they just come enlarged and almost like a decompression chamber. People coming up from the deep too fast, and you know how they get the bends and stuff because their blood is filled with nitrogen. Same thing. So while they are placing these as humane, they ain't so humane, guys. They're not really humane at all. You will hurt your body and break your bones trying to get out as you try to pass away, as your body is fighting for its last breath. It's an involuntary reflex, guys. You can't control it unless you're really heavily sedated. So why not just go ahead and sedate you the rest of the way? That seems like a more humane way of doing things if that's what your desire is. So anyway, the other thing I found out today, guys, this is really kind of shocking. You know, of course, our education system has slowed down to where most people that's graduating from schools now is dumber than a rock, okay? In fact, we have some of the lowest IQ high school graduates and all the advanced developed countries in the world. Some of the very lowest, guys. We're putting out some dumb MFs, all right? And so they check and available with all the resources available to a person that's around 12 years old, 10 to 12, 14. This is the age group that they tested. And all the available resources of artificial intelligence sets, someone with a lower than average IQ, yeah, some of the real dumb MFs of the dumb MFs, the dumber MFs of those, have the access and available information that they could go ahead, if they so desired, they could build a life-ending event or life-ending event virus or bacteria or even a device that will end all life on planet Earth, even to the point that they could actually build something or make something, create something that is targeted to individuals or ethnic groups, age groups, etc., etc. This is for someone that's prepubescent. They don't have their pubic hairs yet, underarm hairs, and they're able to make devices or create things that will kill every thing on planet Earth. Even so, they went ahead and looked, if they put forth a little more effort and had a little more knowledge, guys, they could destroy the planet Earth with what they know. A 12-year-old, 12 to 14-year-old, guys. So we got to think about how much access we allow people to have to artificial intelligence, who should have it, what age group should have access to it, should there be limitations or what? I mean, guys are here. This is a wake-up call right here and now. This right here is a wake-up call to what the capabilities and human ingenuity can create from a 12-year-old. Kind of startling. So anyway, the other day I put out a video called The Last 7 Seconds of Your Life. It talked about as if gravity suddenly left Earth for 7 seconds and everything came back down what was left. And the havoc and the chaos it would create and the destruction it would create. And as I mentioned, the amount of travel or amount of destruction would be greater at the equator and less as you go towards the poles, and even so as much that there would be minimal effect at the poles. And also mentioned that these bunkers that so-called people, a lot of these rich and famous have, depending on the location, etc., whether or not they would be survivable or not. And in fact, it said that there would be a lot of damage there, and some of them, if not ejected from the base, depending on how deep they are. They'd even talked about during this presentation I made about large chunks of the surface of the planet Earth could be dislodged and thrown hither there. So that is a possibility, guys. Now, NASA says it's totally pointless. It's baseless. There's no way possible that this could happen. But we know that NASA is never a straight answer, or as I like to put it, Nazi American Space Alliance or agency. Excuse me. So we can't trust them to tell us the truth about it. So we know they're lying. All right. So if they say there's no possibility, then we need to look the other way, that this is a great big probability. So in recent years, we had been talking about Nemesis and Nibiru and that system coming through. And we know that it's the iron giant. It's an iron core giant. Now, if it came close to Earth, it would disrupt our magnetism. In fact, it would flip it out of whack for who knows how long, 7 seconds perhaps. And in the video presentation, I talked about these clips I got from Turkey UFO Report, showing that there is a good, strong possibility that the Nemesis system is here. We've seen a lot of anomalies, earthquakes, and weather patterns changing on planet Earth, and they're getting more extreme as the days go by, indicating a possibility of closer pass of the Nemesis system. We're seeing anomalies going on the sun, jets of fire coming off a very tumultuous grand solar maximum going on. And I even showed evidence that there's lasers being shot at the sun's surface to cause major disruptions, furthering our weather pattern changes and everything. But we're sticking with the Nemesis system right now. So considering these two factors, we have a strong possibility that the Nemesis system is passing by closer and closer, and is getting closer. So that, now we look at the thing about the United States wanting Greenland. Now, I know I've talked about it and everything like that. They lied about what's around up there, and that it is a possibility that it is covered with ice through the crack or the split in the split image thing where they didn't stitch it together good. It shows to me, in my view, my estimate, that there's ice and icebergs underneath the mask or the layer they put over the Arctic region to tell us that there is no ice there, that's all melted, and therefore the weather changed, etc., etc. That leads into that. But the real thing is they covered it up to disguise that, to lie to us about it, and that there is an ice cap up there, and we're still using it. In fact, I showed evidence that showed that there were buildings there, possibility. So with these two things, that the United States strongly wants the Greenland. We've been wanting Greenland for over 200 years, and we still want it even more so now. Well, if this is possible, that Nemesis systems come about and gravity is going to be lost for 7 seconds, well, where would be the ideal place to be? At either one of the poles. So Greenland's closer than the South Pole, y'all. So it's not too hard to imagine why they would want to go there. And there has been underground bases built there. It's been the United States has built underground bases there since the 60s, early 60s, if not late 50s. It's been occupied. We've had a space base there, a NORAD station also there. So yeah, we've been there for a while, for quite a lot in the last century or so. So there. The other thing I want to bring into fact, guys, we talked about the Nemesis system for the past several years, a lot of evidence supporting this. We also, a few years ago, in 2016 or so, we started talking about the guillotines that the United States has. In fact, I think it was reported around 20,000 of those was created. Of course, that's been long since debunked, but I remember back when we was talking about it, a lot of people were talking about it. Well, we had evidence. We had videos of them. We had images of them. We even talked to transportation drivers that carried them. We've seen truckloads of them being carried down the road. So whether or not they want to debunk, say that this is not real or not, the truth of it is that it is real. So there's that, guys. What did they do with the guillotines? We don't know. Along about the time we started hearing about these guillotines, we started hearing about the Fema camps, ones being built, the former U.S. military bases being reopened and restocked. We also seen evidence of personnel there being inside the fence, some armed, some not armed, and also a lot of new activity and supplies being taken to these former military bases in these FEMA camps. Even though they said there was nobody there, we saw evidence of occupation. So what's going on there? Well, we can think that these are going to be for the deportation personnel that's going away. But if that was so, they'd be really filled up now, but they're not. Speculated that perhaps they're for the homeless. Well, we have no evidence where the homeless went. Could it be at these FEMA camps? We don't know. But they are there, guys, and they were occupied and they had supplies, and we have heard nothing else. In fact, they have went ahead and debunked them or tried to debunk them again, even though we had evidence of that. Then we go to the idea about, I've mentioned this before, that they want to reduce the population to 500 million. It's a depopulation agenda. They want to get rid of us, and they're going to do everything they can to stop us from breeding anymore and getting rid of the human population, or most of it. And in such a manner that they want to do it, that we will clean up our own mess. We'll clean up the dead bodies that we are creating ourselves through this actions and everything that they're doing. Have you seen the mass die-offs this way, genocides, diseases and viral outbreaks and infections, famine, starvation, and drought? Well, it's kind of all created in a way that we will start cleaning up our own dead. That's just put it point blank. That way, when the cataclysmic event that happens, well, they have less of us to carry off. So we know that they have FEMA coffins. We know they have FEMA grave sites ready to accept these FEMA coffins. The FEMA coffins are supposed to be able to handle 3 to 5 personnel, and the grave sites are supposed to be able to handle up to 3 of these FEMA coffins each. So they are all over the place, but we saw evidence of these back in 2017, 2018, and 19, and they acknowledged this at one time, but now it's debunked. There is no evidence, they say, that supports this anymore, but yet we had evidence of this years before. So what am I getting to, guys? Well, if you take all the factors in that we're going to lose gravity in August, they have made pushes to get to the different poles in area. All countries want to get on a pole. Remember, guys, last year or a year before, I think it was, we heard about Chinese and Russian icebreakers being up at the Arctic Circle, but yet they want to tell us that there's no ice there. It's all melted and gone away. Why would they need icebreakers? The image I showed y'all from the video I made the other day, the last 7 seconds of your life, they had said that image was taken from 2020, the map image, and it showed no ice. But if you look through the crack, it showed an underlayment of ice there. That there is a strong probability They are lying to us that the Arctic region is still full of ice, usable ice, icebergs, and it has not melted. The climate change is not due to man-made things going on. It is due to the effects they are making, and also due to the idea and the probability, very strong possibility that the Nemesis system is here. I created that video from the Turkey UFO report showing you different clips of the possibility of the Nemesis system. You can go to their channel. I do encourage you to go to their channel and watch their videos on this. And I also talked to you about why they would lie to us about why they wanted Greenland, what's at Greenland, and what's at stake. And now I'm telling you that because of loss of gravity and all the other combined things that we've seen in the last several years. Remember the telescopes they took out of commission? Two of them, different ones in the desert. One of them was called Satan, I think it was, by the Vatican. And another one was they shut down so the guy was sending porn out. Well, this is about the time we started seeing evidence of the Nemesis system. So we got to think about this, guys. So here's what's going on with that, guys. I really do believe that we strongly need to be prepared for what's going to happen. There's nothing we can do about it. There's nothing we can change about it, but be prepared mentally, spiritually, emotionally, and prepare everybody else. Things are coming, guys. There's a catastrophe coming, no matter what you want to think or what you want to believe or whatever. Things are going to happen, guys, and it's not going to be good. Will Earth survive? Well, we hope so. Will people survive? Well, they're setting it up for a small amount of people to survive. They want to keep the population under 500 million. Well, where do you think this 500 million will be stored at? They won't be in the underground bases. They'll be at the Fema camps. And they'll be working to clean up the mess left over. They'll be cleaning up the burying of bodies. They'll be starting the rebuilding. Like that. So what do you think, guys? What do you think? That we are not the 500 million that be living in the bunkers. They be the workers, the employees, the slaves. And he'd be working for food and water at these FEMA camps, forced labor camps, all over the world, guys. No matter what country you go to, what country, most of the major countries around the world have these camps. Because, like I said in a video the other day, a small portion of mankind will survive. So they got to go somewhere. We got to have labor to clean up the mess. One other thing is, as I mentioned in the video, the water would leave Earth for those 7 seconds. Gravity reversed, if you will. Magnetism gone. So all the water would rise from the seas, from the oceans, from the lakes and rivers. And then after it is settled back, after gravity returns, it will come down in a tsunami, a tidal wave, a flood. So we look back around 4,800 years ago, 4,000 years ago maybe, we had the flood of Noah, where the water covered the entire planet. There's records of this on each continent, everywhere, historical records of this, that it did happen. And so we also know that if you think about it, guys, around this time is when Nemesis system came through the last time. It caused the flood of Noah. It caused the water to leave the surface of the earth, and just a few handfuls of people was left alive. Think about it, guys. So this is why we need to rethink and relook at all the religious doctrine, the scholastic doctrine, political, and everything else, all that doctrine, and look at it with new eyes, because we realize that we've been lied to. So anyway, guys, we've been taught that there is a God. I believe in God, and I know most of you do too. One God or another, or maybe even multiple gods. We have evidence that there were different gods worshipped throughout history, different ones from different theologies and regions and everything. And we also was taught that the Christian God is the one true God, as we said. But I started questioning this when I was very young, around 10 or 12 years old. And I concluded that, if everybody else's God is their one God, their true God, then what makes our Christian God the one true God? Well, I come to the conclusion that if their gods is true and our gods is true, well, they negate each other. You can't have more than one truth in this area, and there's only one supreme being, as we all like to think. But it turns out there's a possibility that there is multiple supreme beings as we see them, multiple gods with the little g, big G, don't matter how you spell it. And they all got names. Anyway, that's beside the point. Anyway, I've long questioned, since we have all these gods, when does a god's influence over mankind, over the sphere of mankind, our system, our life, our environment, when does their influence stop? When does it outweigh one outweigh the other? We've heard in our Bible of God, our Christian God, fighting battles with other gods to win supremacy. So there's evidence there in the Bible that there was other gods. And in fact, we could take this one step further if you like to. I know this is kind of blasphemous, but God created man in his own image. And if we look at us, we see our pettiness, our jealousies, our enviness, our crime-ridden minds, and evil thoughts. We steal, we're jealous, we're all this stuff, gluttony, all the thing. But here's the thing, guys: if we was made in the image of God, well, all these things, including sin, came from God. We were made in the perfect image of God, an image likened to Him, and therefore all these attributes, negative and positive, came from God. They are, in fact, in God Himself. We've seen evidence of this in the Bible when He talks about that He is a jealous God, a vengeful God, a hateful God. He's even competitive. Remember, fighting with other gods for top of the tier. So we have all those two things. So those are kind of negative aspects. There are kind of survival aspects also. But we also got to remember that God also represents love, caring, forgiveness, salvation, protection. In fact, our total existence belongs to God, right? So while we are in the idea try to live up to God's expectations, God's image, well, guys, we already do. So I'm going to play some movie clips to you guys. I've long questioned, about what happens to a God when he stopped believing him to him. Does he just fade away? Does he turn to dust? Does he go to a retirement home or a old God's village or something like that? Or they just kind of poof away like a mist? So I'm going to play some videos from the movies. The movie is Clash of the Titans in 2010. So give me a moment. I'll bring it up and let y'all listen to it. All right.
Our temples are burning. The Colossus has fallen.
I can feel it. We grow weaker by the minute.
Speak for yourself.
Apollo's right. We all feel it, this weight. The weight of time.
We've brought this on ourselves.
Provide for them. Sustain them.
And enjoy their wives.
How is it that we've become so vulnerable to these nothings?
They've learned how to hurt us.
Should descend on Argos tonight. Take our vengeance now.
Fill the walls with their blood. You'll just drive them further away. You'll chase any love they have from their hearts.
Their love feeds us.
We're tearing down our deities. Would you wait until we've been reduced to dust?
Reduced to dust. Well, that kind of answers that question. What happens to a God when you stop believing in him? Reduced to dust. What happens to us when we stop existing? Reduced to dust. There you go. They don't die. They just fade away. They turn to dust. So again, also, if you remember, one of the gods mentioned that they like their wives, the human wives. Well, that goes along with theologies that we heard from different religions and everything, including the current Christian one, that the gods or the fallen angels took wives. But what y'all didn't catch, and I'll explain it later in just a moment after this next scene. Just give me a moment here. We'll bring it up.
How long since you've seen my face? 8 days.
endless years, I watched from the underworld and saw your wrath tempered with love, your glory dimmed by their pride. You created them for one reason, so their prayers would fuel our immortality. Because we are all threatened. Brother, I took revenge for you. And as I did, I saw terror in the mortals. And I saw the answer.
What do you want, brother?
Let me loose upon them. They will pray again. And you will bathe in their awe and fear. And we will grow strong again.
He belongs in.
So now you know why we serve the gods, why they want us praying to them, giving them homage. See, guys, even in the strongest and the worst of times, one of the first things humans do is pray to their deity, their God, and give them homage and honor and glory, and pray to them, give our energy to them. They live off that energy, good or bad. As long as we turn to them, give them attention that they want, they desire. So, what is the truth about gods? Are they mortal? Sort of. Do they have emotions? Very much so. Are they like us? Yes, indeed. So, why do we pay homage to these people? They created us, but they left us abandoned. Of course, we turned away from them because they turned their glory, their honesty, their forgiveness away from us. Their forgiveness is gone. So why not? Should we keep paying them homage? They, in return, have turned away from us. The stronger we grew, which is what they wanted us, they wanted us to grow and prosper, and we did, and they turned their backs on us. Is that not evident? I'm not saying turn away from God, or your God, or any gods, but we need to face the evidence. They turned their backs on us too. Something to think about, guys. Like I say, I always explore the alternate side of the truth. We could look at it with skepticism and logical thinking. The evidence points one way, the words point another. So you decide what is the truth. I hope y'all have a good day. Y'all take it easy. Be nice to somebody today, even to yourself. Later, taters.
Attention passengers, we've now reached our destination. We hope you enjoyed the flight and have a nice day.